Hi everyone, another video explaining how to work with arrays and specifically how to transform data within arrays. So we are starting off again with a data generator that you've seen previously as well. And currently we have selected an output strategy for just random, but in my case, I want to have all the samples within an array as an output. So just so you know, the data generator can not only output single objects, but also arrays. So let's use this. And to keep it a bit more simple, I will have the data just generated once at the beginning. The JSON structure I leave as it is right now, and let's first check what we get when we execute this. So again, connecting to Node, and then saving this and debugging this. Okay, good. So this is what we get: a list of objects as expected. I now have data.data, which is probably not the most effective way to do this. So let's change data to values here. That might be a bit more obvious to understand. And now I have not updated the template. So let's do this real quick and then move forward. So in this case, the data generator generates an array called data with all the values that we have specified in the JSON object below in one output array. That is what you see right here. So now let's assume the following. Let's say that we want to add a timestamp to all of the objects that we have in here, and also remove the name, because we probably don't need the name for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter. Now, to do this, we have to loop, or the best way is to loop over these messages. So what we want to do is we want to split this array. For that, we can use the array split. And here we have different options again. Source property data, which is fine. My array is in the data property. Target property, I will also leave it to data. Key properties will preserve all the information that we have alongside next to the array. For this example, it doesn't really matter. We will just leave it as it is. But then there is an interesting thing, which is called add array information. Add array information is used to join the messages from one array back together somewhere later in the flow. In a previous video, we have discussed different ways how to join messages based on the time count, based on a count of messages, and then in a mixed mode. But in many use cases, you want to join exactly the messages back together that you split it somewhere at the beginning of the flow. And this is where this option comes into the game. So we will select this option, add array information, and the array information will be available on the property array. You can adjust it according to your needs, but we don't need this here at the moment. So if we split the messages, then the module array split will generate one output message for every object within the incoming array. The result you see here on the right-hand side. So we get the single objects and we get the array information, the array ID, the array length, and so on and so forth. We will use this later on when we join the messages back together. Now let's do some modifications to the message. One modification that we said we want to do is we want to remove the name. So for that we can, as one example, use the property mapper, but we have also other options to directly remove properties from an array with the array property omit, but that's for another session. So we connect these two, we say key properties, and we want to remove, and we want to remove data.name. So we can just copy it from the debugging output by left clicking, and then you have it on your clipboard and can insert it. So let's see what we get then from here. I will disable data generator and array split output. And then let's run this again. Okay, now you see that the property is no longer available, which is what we wanted to do. Now let's say that we want to add a timestamp to all of the messages. For that, we can use the timestamp module. And the timestamp module has different options here. We can either convert a timestamp from an incoming message. We don't have an incoming message with a timestamp, so that's not really an option here. But we can also add a timestamp. And I want to add a timestamp in the property data.timestamp. I select the format. I'm good with the ISO format in this case, but there's different options as well. Unix timestamps, but also custom timestamps format, datetime, and so on and so forth. You could specify an offset if that makes sense in your use case, but we will just leave it completely in default. So we just add a timestamp to this incoming object. Running this, let's see how this looks like. By the way, the node by itself in this case is a Docker container and it is only aware about UTC. So the timestamp that we add will be in UTC, as you see right here, 8:43 compared to the clock that I have my local time. I'm in GMT +2, so that aligns pretty well. So we have adjusted our messages and now we want to join them back together. So we again use the array join module connected to here. We want to join everything in the property data, which is fine. Target property data is fine as well. And we say mode auto. In the auto mode, neither the time window or the count really matters. It only matters that the module can detect the property where the array information is available, which is on the property array, as we see on the right-hand side. So with mode auto, we should get the exact same messages joined back together. So let's see how this looks like. Let's enable the original array and just the output array so that we can compare both and see the difference. Let me freeze this output. So the original output was as below. So we had the ID, the name, and no timestamps within it. And now we have removed the name and added a timestamp. So that's how you can loop over a list of items. To make this a bit more clear, let's reduce the sample size to 3. And then we should see an array being generated with 3 items. And on the output side, we join the 3 items back together. So that works pretty well. This is extremely useful in many, many use cases. If you use that together with a property map or something, keep in mind that you need to pass through this array property through the entire message in order to be able to pick it up later on. That's it for this video. Hope you find it interesting and see you in the next one.